All right, in this session, I want to talk to you about drying rooms, right? So let's talk about the challenge, why that challenge persists, the solution that AirROS provides, and what changes for you, right? So ultimately, the challenge in a dry room is different than a grow room, but it's very similar. You've spent all your time, all your money, a process has been, probably beat up many times over to get good, clean product coming out of your flower room, right? So now you harvest that product, you bring it into a dry room, and you find mold. You might not find it right away. Most of the time you'll see in just 48 hours, in a couple of days, all of a sudden mold that wasn't there before is now there. Whether the room itself had mold, whether cross-contamination happened, there's various reasons for that mold, and I'll talk to you some about why that happens. But the main point is you really can't see the mold until it already becomes a problem. 2 days later, now you have a mold problem. Not a good thing. Most growers will keep focusing back on the flower room thinking that they've done something wrong there. And in reality, it may be just in the drying room. So this could be a challenge that's happening just there. So it's risky. By the time you see it, you could be 48 hours in, right? So why does it persist? 3 main reasons I wrote down why this would persist is the way that you dry product, the product touches each other, right? The buds hang close together if you're stick drying. If you're on trays, the buds can be close together and sitting onto a tray surface. Ultimately, you have touch points that will slow down or eliminate air and also create air pockets where mold can grow as the buds go through the process, right? So the buds are constantly releasing moisture as part of the drying process. That's your goal, right? You're bringing in wet product and ultimately you're trying to create dry product. So the moisture is releasing. Well, moisture is really good for mold growth, right? We all know that. So that keeps happening, right? And then you would love to move the air faster, but you cannot do that, right? You purposely are moving the air slowly through the product. One, not to damage it. You don't need it destroying each other just by physical shaking against each other. You don't need to have a jet engine worth of air flow across this because it'll dry too fast, right? It's a slow process. This could be a 10 to 14 day process. I know there's some other methods as well that might be quicker, but in general, you're looking at, I have slow airflow. Well, slow airflow allows for pockets of problems to persist, right? Moisture not to be evaporated, not to be recycled through the dehu or whatnot. So those 3 things cause a lot of issues and are great for mold growth, right? So mold obviously gets stuck in those spots first. You can't see it happening, right? Those dead air spots. And 2 days later, as we talked about, all of a sudden now you have a problem, right? Why normal cleaning processes don't fix it. So think about before you put in the product in the room, you're cleaning the room, everything's clean, walls, sanitize everything, whatever method you choose. You're cleaning that room. Then you put the product in and you still 2 days later have a problem. Why? Because the cleaning, though it was great, may not be the cause of where the mold is coming from, right? May not be the issue. It's good, but you still have no protection for 10 to 14 days. You've cleaned it, and then cross-contamination, people checking on the buds, et cetera, right? Obviously, you've tried good humidity control and good airflow as best you can, mixing that air, dehu, the air as well, and clearly you're still getting mold. So that's not the solution. You know that is not the solution. And then obviously if you wait until you see the mold, then it's already too late. The damage has already started. So real simple, you may clean between batches, but you're not protecting the buds while you're drying. That's the gap, right? That's the main thing why it persists. How we fit. So the reason AirROS fits really well is we run every day, all day, 24/7. So you'll have a system that's purifying the air and the surfaces all the time. Before even the plant comes in the room, you could be running our system. So now we have a clean room, the plants come in, the product comes in to be dried, it's being protected through that 10 to 14 day cycle, and then again, you start all over and you're continually treating that room. So it's continual sanitation. We do this by taking in the air that's in your room. Whatever humidity level is there, the humidity for us can create more of our sanitizer, but the humidity in your airflow gets pulled into the machine, and our purifier will then release sanitized air. So we're cleaning everything that goes through, as well as everything the sanitized air touches. So that's very important. So we're cleaning walls, the floors, and of course the buds themselves, right? That's ultimately what we're doing. So very important setup tips that I always suggest, and like I just mentioned, it runs all day, every day, right? So start AirROS day one. Don't wait until the product's in there to start it up, right? We suggest using that and potentially reducing your cleaning in your flip cycle, right, that you're doing. Maybe you're using scrubbers or things like that. You don't need those anymore, right? Now you're using AirROS day one, before the product's there, then during the whole time, right? That's tip one. Tip two, we always suggest mounting it up high, right? So the purifier's up high, diffusing sanitizer that's heavier than normal air into your slow moving air, and now it mixes even, right? We're not trying to hope we get caught up into your air. We're falling into your product, falling into all the spaces, right? So that's tip number two. Number three, point fans into the rows, and don't create a circular pattern around all the hanging product or the trays. You want to aim the air to flow through. Keep it slow moving, that's fine, but have it move through all of the product. That effectively now moves the sanitizer to all of the product. And as you're moving through and shuffling the product in the room, right, exposing the two products that are, two buds that are touching each other and creating an air gap, as you move that and a new touch point is set, now you're making sure sanitizer is getting everywhere as you grow the product. So one of the cool things you can do, and I suggest doing, and this is really important, helps a lot of customers understand, is we're diffusing the sanitizer into their air, but ultimately the air that you have in the room is important. So do you have dead spots in the room? I mean, you can walk the room and feel, you use a light string, a small string, an anemometer is a great tool to use, and they make anemometers with temperature probes, etc. So you can see as the humidity, temperature, and air speed balance throughout your product, throughout the room. Really great way of doing that. So it's just a simple reminder, the purifier will handle all the cleaning power, not a problem, right? That's what we do. But you handle where the air goes. Both matter. We have to have both, right? So ultimately, we work together to make that happen. So what actually changes for you? So what you end up with is a protection all day, every day, no more waiting to react to see that there's mold, right? That is what we're giving you. There's no change to the smell, the taste, flavor profile, right? All the potency. None of that is going to change on your product except for the better, right? Now you don't have mold. So clearly you're going to have better product. But ultimately it's not negatively affecting the product. It's cleaning all the surfaces, including the buds, but at light, low levels, making sure that you do retain the good quality product that you put into the room to begin with, right? So people, for example, like I'm reminded of Lit by the Lake. They are a small craft grower out of New York, and they just won best flower at the MJ Bowl competition. And they utilize our product to do that. So even their product, they're a small grower, they didn't think they'd win, but in the end, they're a craft grower. They're growing with the best products. They're using our technology and our methods to create product that wins. That's ultimately what you end up with. Primitive Group, we've been talking about them for years. Primitive Group, I think in the first year alone, and I don't think it was a full year, they had, I believe, 28 consecutive non-detectable test results. Now they've been using it for years since, and so they could be in the hundreds at this point. But the goal is you're growing clean, dry clean, and now you can get it to the lab and have good clean product. You're not having to remediate, keep the radiation out of it. You're getting winning product that you can enter into contests if you're a craft grower or growing for your family. It's important to know that you're organically growing. Using our product keeps it mold-free. Your friends, your family, and your customers are all experiencing the best product possible. by growing with the AirROS method. So less stress for you, less wasted product clearly, and one more stage of the grow protected, right? So we're able to help you in various stages of growth. So I suggest you just check out the link below and learn more about protecting your dry room.